Those vegan guys. I thank you.
Hello, I'm Paul.
I'm Jason.
And together we are Those Vegan Guys. And we're right northern. We're from Oldham, we are. And this vlog today is, what's it about, Jason? What we're doing?
You know what? Quite a few people over the last year at least.
Couple of years.
Yeah. Often ask us about our ink, our tattoos.
And when we had them, if they had any meaning. And so we thought, do you know what? We should dedicate a vlog to it, actually. Because they are quite meaningful.
And we've got quite a bit, haven't we?
Yes.
Between us. So we're going to take you on a little guided tour. I think, are we going to try and do it chronologically?
Yes. Yeah, I think that would be best.
So we're going to take you a guided tour, chronologically. We're going to take you through the story of some of our ink and its meaning.
Yeah. So first of all, when I was a strapping young 18-year-old working at Butlins in Bognor Regis, 1987, we used to have our days off in Portsmouth, and Portsmouth in England, for those of you that don't know, is very famous for sailors, tattoos, lots of tattoo parlours. And me and my friend Sharon both decided we were going to have a tattoo together, which unfortunately no longer exists on me because it's underneath this one. But basically what it was a classic 80s tattoo. It was a rose with a love heart in front of it, with a scroll over the love heart with my name in it.
Very traditional.
Paul. And Sharon, and it ended up looking very, very, very old.
Faded.
And then a good friend of ours, Scott, started tattooing. Started doing his own kind of tattooing, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of said, you know, can you do anything about that? I'd like to have this covered up, and I'd like it really to be a tribute to Doris and Agatha. Doris and Agatha were my first two major babies that spent a lot of. Doris, my white cat, was on this earth for 23 years, bless her soul. And Agatha for 19, and they spent most of their years together. And so I've always loved yin yang, and I do have a picture of Doris and Agatha, which I'll include here, lied in the yin yang position on a rug in my house. And so I just thought the yin yang was a perfect tribute to them. So that was my second tattoo, covering over an old one. Then I got the bug.
Yes.
Then I think.
Yeah, we're going to do it chronologically.
Chronologically, that came before me getting that covered over.
Yes. Yeah, it did. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've done at college, didn't you?
Well, yeah. Let's swap back and forth.
Yeah.
So yeah, my first tattoo was this one, which is Chinese for strength. And I had it done on my 18th birthday, I think. It was my first tattoo.
Yeah.
And it's not a tattoo that I massively regret having done, but I think I've mentioned a few times that if I ever had any work done on this arm, which, you know, is planned if and when finances permit, because it's not cheap.
And the world, of course.
I wouldn't be particularly upset if this ended up being covered in the grand scheme of things, but yeah, it was just one of those tattoos that I was kind of like quite into Chinese kung fu and things like that at the time, sort of late teens. So it's not got the most interesting backstory, and it's not got a huge amount of sentimental value to me.
No, it was your first tattoo.
Other than it was my first tattoo, yeah. So that was my first one.
And then chronologically,
Dragon. Yes. So then, kind of going with a bit of a theme here, starting to develop. Is everything okay?
Yeah, I was just making sure I had a square around my face.
Bit of a theme developing here. So my second tattoo was the dragon that I have on my chest, because I've always, as I say, always heavily been into martial arts. Bruce Lee especially, and the dragon just seemed quite appropriate. But also, it was kind of that whole reminder of the fact that we've all got power within us, without kind of getting too deep and meaningful about it. Kind of having that centrally on my chest was kind of quite a prominent thing to do. And I remember at the time, prior to having it done, quite a few people were like, I can't believe you're having a tattoo done on your chest, like right there on your chest plate.
Chestboard.
But it wasn't too bad, and it's a tattoo that I've always been really happy with, and still love to this day, so absolutely no regrets there whatsoever. So that's my dragon tattoo.
Then I think came that cover up.
Yes.
And then...
Yeah, because this was pre-Scott.
Yes.
And then that's Scott, and then a lot more work done by Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like this and this you had done before,
Yeah.
like pre-Scott.
Yeah.
And then our mate Scott covered this up for me, and then I was like, I really wanted Coexist on my forearm, because I'd seen the symbol on the internet. I loved that it was made up of religious symbols, because, of course, the Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, are all always at loggerheads, even though they've got exactly the same starting point. And I never got that. I was always like, why can't you just coexist and support each other?
Yes.
And so that was my next one, and I was really, really pleased with that. And I still love it, actually. Still one of my favourite tattoos.
Chronologically, we're transitioning now into Scott doing some tattoo work
Yes.
for us. Scott developing his skills and talents as a
We
tattoo.
were his trading ground.
Yeah.
Along with many other people, and we didn't mind being either.
Yeah, that's fair to say.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
fair to say. The lizard on my back was the first tattoo that Scott did for me, and it was also, I think, the third tattoo that he'd ever done. So I was kind of like you just said, a test canvas.
Yeah.
So
I'll show it.
I will show my lizard tattoo to you right now. I think it's, which side is it?
Oh, it's here.
Can you do the honours?
There we go. There, look. Lovely. Lovely lizard climbing up his back.
So my lizard tattoo is synonymous with climbing. Really, a lot of climbers have a lizard tattoo. So I suppose I'm still quite young, if I'm honest, and I can own it. It's probably more of a kind of fashionable thing to do. It was like, I want a lizard on my back because I'm a climber. And lizards are great climbers.
Nothing wrong with that.
But it was a lovely lizard design. It was kind of, it's got some tribal stuff to it going on. And although it's kind of not quite in as good a condition now as it was when I first had it done,
Natural tattoos.
long time ago, I'm still really happy with it, and happy with it being there, and again, no regrets. But that's the basic story behind that, and that leads into Scott doing quite a bit of tattoo work for us.
Hell of a lot of tattoo work. So after this forearm, I was really into forearm tattoos. I was like, oh, I love that actually. I'd like to have another one. So I asked for Scott to do this one for me. And this says, happy, healthy, no conflict, harmony. Which is exactly what I wanted. I wanted happy, healthy harmony. And I was terrified when I first had that done. Luckily, we went to a Chinese restaurant. One of the waiters, was fluent. And I said, without me telling you what this is supposed to mean, what does it say? And he said, happy, healthy. And then he paused, and he was, and I was like, oh my God, what does it say? What does it say? And he said, no conflict. And I was like, yeah, harmony.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was very pleased with that one, and I had the flowers put around it to kind of jazz it up a bit.
That's one of my favourites of yours, to be honest, as well.
Yeah, well, my forearms were where I started, other than that one. My forearms were where I started.
Yeah.
And then not long after this, I had this done around my wrist, which is the Bohemian mantra, truth, beauty, freedom, love. I had that around my wrist, which is like Moulin Rouge.
Yes. It's the whole Bohemian philosophy, really. So, continuing on, then what happens is we've entered into the realm of Scott tattooing us. I had the sleeve started at a tattoo shop local to us and had just the basic flame outline done. Paid quite a lot and was really, really disappointed. And I thought, I was pretty devastated at the time because I think I paid about £100 for it, which was like a quarter sleeve or a third of a sleeve. And it was the start of what I envisaged being a full sleeve, and it was a terrible start. So I do have to, in all honesty, give props to Scott, because Scott stepped in, and tattoo artists are not keen on working on or correcting other people's work a lot of the time. Some are, but a lot of tattoo artists are just not keen on doing that. He stepped in and, to be honest, has done a cracking job of it, and I built the sleeve off a bad start, and it was turned into something that I'm really, really happy with, and I've always been happy with it. So it was a naturally developing project. I think it was fixing the flames. It was then moving up the arm. Should I just carry on and just tell the sleeve story? Yeah. Up to the Phoenix. Had the Phoenix done. I think, actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. Before I had the Phoenix done, tied in with the whole Bruce Lee thing and Kung Fu and all that stuff, I had my Bruce Lee quote done, which is the whole thing around where Be Like Water comes from.
And it says, empty your mind, be formless, shapeless, like water. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
Fabulous. So that's my Bruce Lee quote, which I was very, very happy with. Continued on to the Phoenix. The story of the Phoenix is basically the whole rising from the ashes thing. Without going into too much detail, quite a few years back, had a really, really bad mountain biking accident. Wasn't wearing a helmet. Very, very nearly died. It was an atrocious time and a long recovery period to get back to normal. But I'm here, I'm alive. And so the Phoenix was really kind of a representation of that, is kind of, rising from the ashes, getting back to being where I was, and then, of course, going beyond that. So that's kind of my sleeve, and then the last elements were really just adding in the clouds and filling it all out to kind of turn it into a full sleeve. And then the last component was the skull stack behind the flames, which I was really unsure about at first, but I'm so glad that I had them done. I think it just completed the sleeve entirely. Some really great detail in this skull stack. It really added to my sleeve.
Yeah, he did an incredible job with it.
And my little tribute here with my skull with the polo mint eye is a little tribute to the hitchhiker from it's just gone out of my head.
The Mighty Boosh.
The Mighty Boosh. So that's my little tribute there. The skull with the polo mint eye. So that's my sleeve. There's a couple of other things to tell you about as well, but I'll pass back to you now.
Okay. So I think next I went for the classic actor comedy and tragedy, because I thought, right, my forearms are done, or the inside, so let's start going up a bit. So I think I had that one done next. Just your lovely classic comedy and tragedy.
Yeah, kind of self-explanatory, isn't it?
Yeah. And then I decided that I was going to start filling out these, the front of my forearm and the sides as well. So I had this tribal, just because I wanted something tribal on my arm as a kind of tribute to tribalism, which I think we've lost a lot now. Or it comes in a very negative way. It's tribal rather than it being celebratory. It's kind of it's based in conflict, and it shouldn't be.
Yeah,
really. Tribalism is about celebration and marking moments, and so yeah, I had that.
And it's completely one of a kind. It wasn't like it was a tribal design picked out of a book.
No, he drew it himself.
It's completely custom, one of a kind tribal design,
Yeah.
which is nice.
I didn't want it solid black either, so I just had this nice kind of grey, you know, smoky effect inside. And then the next one on this arm was my totem pole, which is basically me with a mohawk and cats, which just represents my life so well. And I kind of enjoy the fact that it was done in a bit of a Polynesian kind of style. So yeah, love that. And then now, this is what I get asked about the most, about what this is. So I'm really into semi-precious gemstones and crystals and rocks. I'm not into geology or anything. I just like pretty things. And I have a lot of jewellery with semi-precious gemstones and stuff. So what I wanted was, I wanted my arm to look like it had been embedded with semi-precious gemstones. And it was actually, I kind of said that to Scott, and then he came up with this design, which is a little bit kind of stained glass window-ish, a lot of people have said. And this was a lot of work, and Scott stopped here. Everything from there down is Scott. And then it was Manchester Ink, I believe, where I got this extended up and all these bits, and I said I want the sun on my shoulder, which has the name of Doris in it, and underneath the name of Agatha.
It kind of reinforces the yin yang thing as well, doesn't it? In a way, actually having the names there as well. And
yeah. So I mean, this whole section really is a tribute to two of the most incredible cats. Got emotional.
Yeah, I knew. Yeah. Doris and Agatha.
That I ever shared my life with. So yeah, and I think that's me. Isn't
that
it?
you?
Yeah.
That's you, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there you go, that's that. And to finish off, sleeves being done, that project being worked on, obviously having to have gaps whilst I heal.
Oh, and just in case it needs explaining, by the way, you've got the skulls representative of death, and then the flames, you know, turning everything into ashes, but rising from the flames, what's born from fire? The phoenix.
Thank you for that. Yes, and the tails of the phoenix have got stars on the end, but you'll be able to see that, don't you worry. So yeah, this project is happening. Whilst this is happening, healing time, what do? You get ink done somewhere else on your body, don't you? If you're quite into tattoos and into ink. So the last two elements to share and show are these. On this side...
Yeah, I think you need to stand up a bit.
Yeah.
And turn. There we go.
This side, and of course, this side. Now, that was a work in progress, believe it or not. It's still not finished. It's still not what I envisaged as being the final image. But the idea was to kind of have those sort of vines coming up and some little bits coming off, but then sort of, if people are familiar with like Japanese artwork and like scenery and bulrushes and that kind of thing, I wanted it eventually to be a bit more substantial, but it's the worst place in the world to get tattooed.
We were brave. We were right brave.
So that might get built on at some point in the future, but really it was just something that was symmetrical and that kind of tied in with everything else.
And then you've got one more tattoo, haven't you?
The final one, which is a bizarre story to tell, but cut a long story short, when presented, I'm quite an artistic person anyway, I always have been since I was a kid, presented with the opportunity to draw and design your own tattoo, and then basically be handed a tattoo gun and be supervised in tattooing yourself. So that's what I did. My last tattoo is a tattoo of 3 cats. I designed it myself.
This is pre-ISIS.
Yeah, this is pre-ISIS. Designed it myself and tattooed myself. And although it's terrible, it's a terrible tattoo, I still love it because of the circumstance and you know, how many people can say they've tattooed themselves. So that's the last tattoo, and that is this one.
And that...
Doris, Agatha, Doris, Agatha, Alice.
Yeah.
And they're kind of sideways shaped cat heads, a bit sort of anime. The idea at the time was that they were kind of a little bit manga-esque, anime style. So yeah, that was...
So we've both got cat tributes on us to Doris and Agatha. That's how impacting they were.
Yeah, big time. Big time.
Yeah, they were amazing cats. So that's pretty much the story of the ink that we have now. And if the world ever normalises again, and finances and viruses allow,
Schmarona!
I think we will probably both extend on our ink. Although, if I never had any other ink again, I am very happy with the ink I have on me.
Yes.
I like that everything has a story.
Yes. I am almost 99% with you on that. I'm very happy with what I've got, but if all of that Paul just said gets sorted out, there's definitely one more I definitely want to get, and that is the Pink Triangle, our Pink Triangle Theatre logo.
Yeah.
I definitely want to get that done. I know exactly where I want it done. I want it done here.
Yeah.
On this arm right here. And if I'm honest with you, I want this entire arm done in an ideal world, but you know what? It's all good.
It's all good.
It's all good.
So tell us down below about, your tattoos, and if they have any story behind them, whether they be, a tribute or just something you wanted, adornment, wanted to dress yourself and your skin up a bit.
Yeah, it doesn't always have to have a deep and meaningful story, does it?
No, not at all.
So there you go. That's our ink. That's our tattoo stories. Right there.
Come up here, let's get a thumbnail.
Well, there's no point in me putting this arm up, is there? I'll do that. Yeah, that's our tattoo stories. That's our ink journey, if you will. So really hope that you found that interesting. I'm sure that people who come to the channel for our other usual content might be a bit like, oh, this is an odd one, but
yeah.
Hope you've enjoyed it.
But because most of you who come to this channel know Stuart as well, I'll tell you the story about my titties. So they're both pierced, right, along with my stomach. Me and Stuart are nipple sisters. We had our nipples pierced at the same time. We had one done at the same time, and then we went and had the other one done. The first time we had it done, we were drunk on sake. We'd been out.
Awful. Not recommended.
No.
Do not try this at home.
Not at all. Don't. We'd been out for lunch in Chinatown in Manchester, and I think we'd had 2 little bottles of sake. Oh, and it was strong. Stuart said to me on the way upstairs in Affleck's Palace, "Ooh, I can smell that sake on your breath." And we got our nipple pierced and it were fine. We went back a second time sober. Oh, Linda, it did hurt.
Nipple sisters. There you go.
So there you go. Piercings and tattoos and all kinds of stuff. Hope you found this interesting.
No story behind that one. Just thought I'd show you.
Just a pimple piercing.
Just to finish off. Yeah.
Right. Yes. Anything you want to say?
That's it. Just, thanks for being here, as always. Check out our content. Give us a like and a subscribe if you haven't already. Click that notification bell. And please help us share our down-to-earth veganism on the reg.
Please do. Check out all our shopping lists and recipes and everything. There's loads on the channel. And Jason's fantastic music. But this was the story of our tattoos. And we're right glad we've told you. We'll see you again very soon. Until then, please be excellent to yourselves and each other. Bye, loves.
Forgot to say I love you, mister.
Oh, love you. Love you.